Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ballet Rain. It is everyone's favorite time of year officially, which means it is time to blast Dance of the Sugarplum Fairy from every home, car, radio, and grocery store across the globe until the end of the year.
In honor of Nutcracker World Domination season, we are so pleased to welcome you to the ultimate ballet costume showdown, Nutcracker Edition. In preparation for this video, we put out a poll on our Patreon channel and asked our faithful patrons to vote on which role of the Nutcracker should participate in this year's costume showdown. So the two options that we gave were the Rat King from Act 1 of the Nutcracker and the Sugarplum Fairy. And at the end of the day, the Sugarplum Fairy did win by a hair at 54%.
So we have gathered some exquisite Sugarplum tutus from famous companies around the world, and in typical showdown fashion, we're going to be comparing them against each other to see which one we will crown the Costume Showdown champion.
If you're hyped and ready to go, then make sure you tap the like button, get yourself into the Christmas spirit, and let's embark on the Nutcracker special. Before we officially start the showdown, of course, we have to have our criteria, our guidelines to judge these costumes very subjectively off of. So let's get started with the sort of overview of what's traditional of a Sugarplum tutu and what is kind of expected, the sort of role it plays within the ballet and how important it is. So Sugarplum Fairy is like the ruler of the land of sweets. That is her role, and she's kind of like this beautiful, ethereal, benevolent fairy that welcomes Clara into the land of sweets and presents her with all of these beautiful divertissements for entertainment.
So we need a really magical, kind of whimsical, but also regal kind of look. Also, I think the Sugarplum Fairy is based off of, obviously, an actual sugar plum, which, according to the photos I've seen on the internet, it's like a kind of a hard candy, and it's like coated in sugar crystals.
Yeah.
So it has this really delicate, crystally
frosted, almost.
Yeah, almost glittery, sparkly vibe.
So I think that to achieve that look on a costume, you know, a lot of rhinestones, a lot of gems, and a lot of things.
Sparkle.
It needs to be reflective. It needs to be magical.
It can't just shine. It has to
sparkle.
Sparkle.
Traditionally, the Sugarplum tutus are either pink or white or a mixture of the two, although there are a lot of color variations of the Sugarplum tutu because the Nutcracker in general is the most adapted ballet, and each production will vary greatly one from another. And so, of course, the Sugarplum tutus will also vary, but generally, you know, pinks and plummy shades and whites and creams will kind of work. And the other thing with the Sugarplum tutu and why we have such high standards for this tutu is because it's a family's ballet. So firstly, it has to cater to the adults. Of course, it has to be beautiful, it has to be well designed, it has to be very aesthetically pleasing. And then the other thing is for the kids. Yeah. You know, it has to be magical, it has to make them absolutely enamored with this beautiful Sugarplum Fairy, and it has to be almost transportive. Yeah. You know, she has to be able to bring them with her into the land of sweets, as well as Clara.
Yeah, this tutu has to single-handedly bring in the next generation of dancers, you know? Because there are children seeing ballet for the first time. So it needs to...
It has to be perfect. It has to be beautiful, sparkly, enchanting, magical.
It has to be the reason that millions of little girls start ballet.
Exactly. That's what it has to be. And I think if anything, of any criteria, I think that needs to be the standard. It has to be that level of magic.
It has to make the kids absolutely in awe, and it has to make the adults feel like kids again.
That's kind of our criteria for the Sugarplum Fairy tutu. Obviously, the bar is really high for this one, and so we're very excited to get started.
Let's do it!
So let's go. On a side note, we do have a cup of chai for a Tchaikovsky ballet costume showdown.
You know how it is.
You know how it is. Hopefully you have your tea. If it's cold where you are, a cozy blanket. If it's not cold where you are, I'm jealous. It's really cold in Dallas, you guys. Let's get going. We have, okay, this is actually kind of special because it is the Nutcracker Edition. It's actually going to be an extended version of our usual ballet costume showdown. So instead of 8 costumes, we actually have 12 sugar plums to compare.
So for our preliminary round, we're going to narrow them down from 12 costumes to only 6. And in our semi-final round, we're going to cut it down in half again from 6 to 3. And for our final 3, we're going to pick one ultimate winner, and we'll also order them in our first, second, and third place. So that's the way it's gonna go today because it's Nutcracker season.
We gotta do an extended special edition Ballet Costume Showdown. So let's get going.
Let's do it.
First up in the preliminary round are the San Francisco Ballet and the Mariinsky Ballet.
These are both very, very beautiful.
I will preface this by saying that in San Francisco Ballet, this is technically Sugarplum, although the role of the Sugarplum in their production dances with the flowers in the Waltz of the Flowers.
Yeah, so the Sugarplum Fairy dances the dewdrop role
Exactly.
in the Waltz of the Flowers, whereas the Clara dances the pas de deux and the variation, like the sugar plum variation, but it's Clara. It's complicated.
It's complicated, but still lovely, and she is still technically Sugarplum. Anyways,
I really like the San Francisco right off the bat.
yeah.
Just because my personal preference for tutus is I like a bit fuller of a look.
Yeah.
I think the Mariinsky is very dainty, which is very nice, and it has that sort of delicate feel.
Mariinsky Ballet for me is giving like fairy doll vibes a little bit, which is kind of matches like the whole toy chest sort of theme from Act 1 of the ballet.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm saying? So like in a way it kind of feels cohesive in that way. So and I know we've ranted about the Mariinsky tutus in
quite
multiple episodes of this channel.
They're generally quite simplistic.
They're simplistic, and like the tutus are a little bit thinner and like just not as lavish. For some reason, I don't hate it so much for Sugarplum, just because
you want that delicate vibe.
yeah,
For the
she's a fairy.
variation and for the fairy.
Although San Francisco is really speaking to me. I mean, if you look really closely at the ruffles here, it's like each of these petals on the tutu was dipped in sugar.
Pretty.
It's like when you take a glass and you like kind of dip the rim in sugar.
Yeah, it looks like that.
It looks like that.
Also, the bodice, it's giving candy, you know? Because it has the boning almost. Well, it's not boning, but you know that illusion of
Yeah,
that.
for San Fran, it kind of gives that illusion of like she's not just a sugar plum represented as a fairy. She's kind of just looked like the overall ruler of the land of sweets. You can see like the candy represented in this costume. You can see flowers represented in this costume, and you see the sugar.
Yeah,
like the
for
sugar
her,
crystals
yeah.
for the sugar plum fairy. So it just feels very creative and like well-rounded in terms of like the story being carefully distilled into a costume.
Yeah.
So for that, I kind of want to give San Francisco the winner on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like San Fran for this.
I mean, obviously, I'm a bit more maximalist than minimalist with my tutu taste.
Exactly.
So we'll give San Francisco the win.
Round 2 of preliminary round, we have the American Ballet Theater and the Dutch National Ballet. Now again, these two costumes are technically not Sugarplum Fairy because these productions don't actually have Sugarplum Fairies. They have Clara, who grows up and becomes the queen of the land of sweets, and so she gets to do all the Sugarplum roles, but she's not really the Sugarplum Fairy.
I think ABT has a Sugarplum Fairy, but it's a non-dancing role.
Yeah. Anyways, these are two beautiful, beautiful tutus.
And obviously, they don't have so much of that
Sugar
plum vibe because it is Clara.
But I think in general, we can kind of more judge it off of, you know, again, that audience appeal. What speaks to the hearts of a child and, you know, audiences in general.
For myself, I like Dutch National Ballets better.
Really?
Yeah, because I like the flatter tutu more so than this sort of half dress, half tutu.
Here's the thing, like I really like the Dutch National, like the shape of it, you know, like the wider tutu. And like ABT kind of is just giving snow for some reason. It's just like the lacy frilly hem, it's just giving snowflake. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit.
And the crown. Doesn't it? It's giving snow.
A little bit. This one's giving snow. This one's kind of giving more Clara.
Or Raymonda even.
Or Raymonda even. Like this one honestly could be Raymonda if I didn't know better.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? So in that regard, I feel like this one's a little bit more ambiguous. So it could be Sugarplum, it could be snow, but like
at least this one's giving Nutcracker.
at least it's giving Nutcracker.
I get what you mean, but I still like this one better design-wise.
I think it's really beautiful because it looks like the top half, like from here up, it's very Clara nightgown.
Yeah.
So in terms of like the Clara becomes Sugarplum concept, I think this tutu is really, really nice for that. But if we're talking talking about like shimmery, sparkly, sugar plummy, this one's honestly really hard because these are such like unique concepts for a sugar plum replacement. I mean, I don't want to call it that because like this is difficult. Okay, this is difficult.
What do you think? Dutch National or ABT? I'm going Dutch National, but
I'm saying ABT.
We differ, you guys.
We differ. Okay, but here's the thing. In real life, when you watch the ABT version, it looks more sugary.
That's okay, yeah.
More magical.
I'll give you that. In action, it looks better.
It's actually really, really pretty.
Yeah. Okay.
And it kind of has that like delicate, like, I don't want to say wafer-like quality when the tutu dances. It just has this very delicate look to it. And yeah, it's kind of like more of a belle tutu.
But that's not a bad thing.
Not a terrible idea, to be honest. It just looks very, very delicate, less structured look. And and there is charm to that.
All right, I'm convinced.
Okay.
We can do ABT.
All right, we're gonna do ABT. This is the top one. And again, like there's so many different concepts for the sugar plum or Clara becoming sugar plum. So, okay, ABT it is.
ABT it is.
ABT it is.
Next one, we have two very, very, very beautiful costumes. This is from English National Ballet and Boston Ballet. Both of these tutus are so, so pretty.
They're both magical. They both have that sparkly, magical appeal, which is a big win in my books.
I like the iridescence of the English National Ballet tutu right off the bat.
I say that too.
Like, I don't know if it's just the lighting, but I do like that sort of
reflective iridescence to it.
I think it might be just the lighting, but also the fact that it reflects the way it does.
It's enchanting. Like, that's low-key spellbinding. That's really pretty.
And then the Boston Ballet, I mean, look at this. It's so sparkly.
It's very sparkly. Although, to be honest, this one's giving more snow for me.
Yeah.
In comparison, like, I wouldn't freak out if I saw this on stage in Sugarplum, but like, you know, in contrast, it's a lot more snowy. Also, the crown.
I think it's mostly the bodice. The bodice has that really frosty look. So that's what's selling me Snow Queen.
But it is lovely. It's
so
a beautiful,
pretty.
beautiful costume. But if we were to compare with like the Sugarplum role in mind, I do feel like English National Ballet might be my winner for this round.
I also feel like I like the sleeves on the English National Ballet tutu.
Yeah.
It has a bit more of a graceful, drapey appeal to it.
It's giving princess.
Yeah. Also bonus points for the little necklace.
Yeah.
The built-in necklace.
See, that's pretty.
That is pretty. And so the way this works for non-dancers, it's actually a whole mesh panel. Yeah. Because if you actually have a necklace, right, it'll move around a lot when you're dancing. It'll fly around to the back. It'll whack your partner, like, it'll be a huge mess, right? So they actually attach like a skin tone mesh from the top of your tutu, and it comes up to about here.
They basically just sew the sparkles and beads onto the mesh in a necklace-like shape. So it gives the illusion that she's wearing one, but it won't fly and cause damage and start fires and things.
It adds that queenliness and
very
extra
queenly.
sparkles.
Extra sparkles. Always a win. So we're gonna go with English National.
Yep.
For this round, although both of them are absolutely gorgeous. Moving forward to we have the Pacific Northwest Ballet and National Ballet of Canada.
Pacific Northwest Ballet, their version is technically it's the Balanchine version, but their costumes and sets are quite a bit different from NYCB. They have this like sparkly mesh. Like it's the tulle is not just tulle. It has
sparkly tulle. It's hard to see in the photo, but in live action, the way this tutu sparkles,
it's crazy.
It's insane.
Because if you look at like the photos of like actual sugar plums, it looks like this.
It kind of does. They're that deep purple with a lot of sugar on top. And that's kind of like a literal sugar plum tutu.
The wand is always a nice addition.
Wands are always nice. That is a Balanchine Nutcracker sort of element.
It brings the fairiness into it.
It does.
However, moving over to National Ballet of Canada, you guys.
This is exquisite, you guys! Oh my
Okay, honestly, this is kind of breathtaking. I'll be honest. National Ballet of Canada's Nutcracker was not necessarily on my radar, but it is now.
It is now because of this tutu. Look at all the details and the different color variations.
I know.
And it's just exactly what I want to see in a Nutcracker Sugarplum Fairy tutu.
I love the pattern.
I know, the material that they use.
You can see like that watercoloriness almost. The tulle at the edge of the tutu here, you can see it has that like feathery, sparkly tulle.
I think that brings a lot more fairy into it than if it was want to see in a Nutcracker Sugarplum Fairy tutu. She's a little bit more energetic, a little bit more right personality.
Yeah.
I feel like for a Sugarplum, which is so cool. The sleeves too, like yes, they're drapey, but again, it still keeps the fairiness of it. not too much like princess,
Yeah.
but it's like fairy. And then my favorite part about this, you can't see it in this photo, but in real life, there's wings in the back. You guys. What doesn't scream Sugarplum Fairy like a pair of fairy wings?
Literally.
I'm sorry, as much as I appreciate P&B.
Canada has to take the cake.
Canada takes the cake, you guys.
It's stunning.
It's exquisite.
It's so intricate. It's so detailed. And I love the different elements that you wouldn't normally think of.
It's got a lot of gold in it too.
Yeah,
which
the
is
gold
like,
is nice.
and it's sparkly.
Yeah.
It's so sparkly. I love it so much. Anyway, National Ballet of Canada will proceed to the next round of the Costume Showdown.
Fifth comparison of the day. Oh, Australian ballet versus Bolshoi ballet.
Australian.
Australian ballet.
To me, Bolshoi, I mean, frankly, it looks like it could be La Bayadere.
It does. Even the pose is giving a bit La Bayadere. It might just be the photo.
No, but seriously, it's just that super simplistic pared down tutu, which the shades are known for.
Oh, yes.
And frankly, I would expect a little bit more for Sugarplum Fairy. For
That's
that
true.
magical, appeal for like, I mean, all the audiences, but especially the kids, there's hardly any sparkle to it, not a lot of detail, there's no pink. I just hoped for a little bit more in terms of like the Sugarplum Fairy.
From like a kid's perspective, I understand. Like a
Yeah.
kid might not understand it quite the way
Exactly.
we would,
And there is beauty in like the simplistic looks as well, not to like completely shun the Bolshoi Ballet's
No.
costume, not at all. But in our subjective opinions, being tutu maximalists as we are, we're
gotta
going to
go.
pass on the Bolshoi.
Yeah, we're gonna go Australian ballet on this one. Okay, this one, I will say, doesn't have as much sparkle as I
Definitely less.
want, maybe. Although it makes up for it with texture.
The texture does have a very fairy-like quality. Like this kind of is giving like fairy from Cinderella, like very fairy-like, very ethereal.
Yeah.
It has that.
It has a
texture.
lightness to it. Yeah, it's really, really pretty.
It's gorgeous.
And side note, Benedict Benet is gorgeous.
she's so
we love
pretty.
her.
We love her so much.
If you're watching, we love you.
Anyways, it's kind of an easy comparison
For us.
for us. Subjective, of course.
Subjectively, yes.
But we're gonna go with the Australian ballet for this round.
Yes. Last comparison. Oh!
Two iconic sugar plums on one page.
However, shall we choose?
We have the New York City Ballet and the Royal Ballet. Both are absolutely iconic. They're such different concepts, but like they're so beautiful in their own unique way.
Okay, I will say the New York City Ballet, it screams that Balanchine aesthetic.
Yeah, it does.
If you know what I
It really
mean, like you
does.
can look at this tutu, even out of context, you'll be like, that's a Balanchine tutu right there.
It really is.
I think it's the simple, less is more vibe.
He's a minimalist in terms of costumes in a way.
Certain ones.
And then I think just like the sparkles on the top of the sweetheart.
Yeah.
It's very Balanchine. And of course he has the wand included
Yes.
in this costume. And I think it's a cohesive look. Again, it's giving very much like ballerina doll, kind of like, in the wind up ballerina dolls. And there's so much pink satin in it. Her shoes are pink satin, the bodice is pink satin, and then there's tulle. It's the epitome of the ballerina. And I think in a very simplistic way, it's captivating.
Yeah, like I know me as a 3-year-old would absolutely fall in love with this. And even like, at any age, it just has that classic ballerina feel to it.
It's special. It's special. But the Royal Ballet,
This is what we're getting to.
it's just exquisite. Subjectively one of the best
Definitely.
Sugarplum tutus out there.
Yeah,
There's just so much detail in it, I feel like, and it's sparkly.
the choice of the fabric for the bodice, if you zoom in really close, it is like iridescent.
It's very iridescent, very reflective.
Almost like in action, it catches the light so
So
nicely.
nice.
Everything has a bit of shimmer or iridescence to it.
I think also in the Royal Ballet's production specifically, Sugarplum definitely takes on a more queenly demeanor, and like her character is much more queenly, and this tutu reflects that. And so in context, it also works exceptionally well.
Yep.
And these sleeves, it looks like a queen's gown. It feels like a
Yeah.
queen's gown, and I think that's the beauty of this costume is just
Yeah.
how cohesive it is with their plot and with their Sugarplum character, and also the sparkly wig.
Yeah.
Of course, adds extra sparkles and extra magic.
Extra magic. And it matches their sets. Because
does match.
everything's sparkly. Even their sets are sparkly.
You can see it glittering behind her.
Yeah.
The whole thing is so sparkly and pretty.
Although, that being said, it is a difficult choice because New York City Ballet, it's so iconic.
But between the two, I feel like Royal Ballet just has to win just by like maybe this much. I feel like Royal Ballet just has that shimmery, sparkly, crystalline look that we subjectively prefer for a Sugar Plum. So that's what we're gonna go with, Royal Ballet.
Royal Ballet. No one was surprised.
No one was surprised. Can't help it, so
I'm
sorry.
Sorry, you guys.
Moving on to the semi-final round. We had some really difficult choices already, so it's only gonna get harder from here, you guys. So let's go.
Oh dear.
San Francisco Ballet and ABT, American Ballet Theater.
For me, it's quite easy. Again.
Yeah, Sugar Plum vibes are coming from the San Francisco Ballet.
Yeah.
I'm just getting the Sugar Plum vibes from her.
But ABT also had its own
Charm to it. It's like sugary. It's like
sugar.
sugar.
Like icing sugar. Like icing sugar and granulated sugar is like all that white crystal.
Yeah, it's almost like that snowy, like powdered sugar. It's like, kind of like resembles snow.
Symbolically, it could work.
These are both gorgeous options, but I think at the end of the day,
we
San
gotta-
Fran is still speaking to me.
Yeah, I think so too.
Again, it's just like so creative.
Yeah, I can't get over it. It's giving more candy. It's giving more Land of Sweets.
There's like different color variations in it.
Yeah, the ombre effect.
Yeah,
it's
really, really lovely. So we're gonna go San Francisco once again.
Hee.
She will move on to the final showdown.
All right.
Oh my god, no! We have the English National Ballet's beautiful iridescent tutu and the National Ballet of Canada's super sparkly fairy-like Sugar Plum tutu. They're both so beautiful and they're so similar too. Like there's so many similarities, the sleeves and like this gold details.
And like the color variation.
Yeah.
Okay, what I do like about the English National Ballet over National Ballet of Canada is sort of the softness. But I also feel like the instrumentation for her variation, like the Celesta, yes, it has a really delicate crystalline feel, but it also has a roundness to it as well.
Yeah, especially with the woodwinds on the bottom.
Yeah.
So like I understand what you're saying.
That being said, Canada's
still, I just can't get over the details, and I feel like it feels like Sugar Plum Fairy in literal translation. You see the sugar, sparkly, purple plum, and then fairy. She has fairy wings.
Yeah, and like just the silhouette is very much
It's
fairy.
very fairy. I love both of them, but my heart's saying Canada.
Yeah.
My heart is really saying Canada.
It's just like so captivating.
It is.
Like it just makes you look at it.
I know, it just draws your attention to it.
Yeah, I really do love it. We may have to go Canada on this one. I feel like it's more eye-catching, especially if I'm thinking about like reading from the stage. This color variation of the gold with the purple and the pink, it's really going to have a beautiful effect when you're sitting, from a stage distance.
Yeah, for sure.
In the audience, it's gonna read really nicely.
I agree with you. One other thing about the English National Ballet and why I might like Canada's better, English National kind of, like it could be Aurora. It could also be Sugar Plum.
Oh, I see.
It could also be, like it just looks a little bit more ambiguous, whereas Canada I feel like is very distinctly Sugar Plum Fairy.
It's more stylized. Let's not overthink it anymore. We'll pick Canada over English National Ballet just by
this much. Just by this much.
Guys.
It was so close, you guys. Next up, Australian Ballet and Royal Ballet.
Isn't it Australian Ballet and Royal Ballet that always end up against each other?
I feel like they were in a previous episode, but their costumes are both exquisite.
I feel like they both do tutus really well.
Australian is like definitely Sugar Plum in terms of like that plummy, light, purpley pink.
Yeah, I do like the incorporation of the like purpleness.
And it has so much texture and so much detail to it. Feathery almost, and like ethereal in that way. And I think it's really pretty.
And it's even prettier like in action as well.
It's so pretty in action,
really,
you guys.
like it's fluffy.
It's fluffy.
Yeah,
it's
like
fluffy.
I adore like if tutus have a little bit of like thickness and like fluff to them.
Yeah.
It's like it's the best thing.
Royal Ballet also is so magical. And it's just like so queenly. And it's also very sparkly, which the Australian Ballet isn't necessarily, but like it makes it up for it in other ways. So it's like you're comparing apples to oranges at this point. Like they're so different, but both so perfect in their own ways.
This almost reminds me of like cotton candy.
There, that's
That's
what,
what it is.
That's what it is. It's like cotton candy.
Yeah, it has that like lightness.
Yeah.
Which is so magical. Or sponge sugar, as I say.
sponge sugar.
Or fairy floss. Fittingly
Fairy
enough.
floss.
It's called fairy floss.
You're right.
And this is more like crystal sugar.
That's like crystal sugar.
like sanding sugar, like you
Yeah,
would use
like
in
a
a cake.
sanding sugar. Yeah, exactly. That it has that sort of vibe. Yeah, Royal Valley almost looks like a beautifully designed cake.
It does.
You know, like the white and like some of the embellishments and just the way it kind of has that sparkle and
the luster dust.
yeah, it looks like a cake. And then the Australian Ballet is more like
Cotton
sponge
candy.
sugar or
Yeah.
fairy floss or cotton candy. They're both such cool concepts. I don't know what to do, you guys.
What does your heart say?
My heart's still saying Royal Valley, you guys. I'm so sorry. I promise you I'm not biased.
You'll understand, right? If we pick Royal Ballet.
They're honestly so beautiful, and I honestly almost can't pick between the two of them.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I mean, I'm sorry, Royal Valley is just exquisite.
You'll understand, right?
this
You guys
hurts.
understand if we pick Royal Ballet
This
one more.
hurts so much. They're both beautiful, but I think we're gonna usher Royal Ballet into the final showdown, which is happening in just a moment. So stay tuned. We are currently getting ready to crown the winner of the Ballet Costume Showdown, but before we do that, we're going to quickly interrupt the broadcast. This is not an ad. Please don't skip. It's an invitation to our birthday party.
Woo! It's true. Ballet Rain is turning 2 years old at the end of this year.
And if you'll remember, last year we threw a little birthday party to celebrate 1 year on YouTube. And of course, we are doing another one this year because we're so thankful for y'all. We want to celebrate this beautiful community of ballet nerds, and we want you to be there. The party's going to be on the 28th of December, and that's a Saturday. Of course, the real Ballet Rain birthday is at the very end of the year, but this is the closest Saturday. And it's going to be right here on YouTube, premiered on Saturday at 12 p.m. CST as normal. We will be making cake, just like
Yep.
last year, and so y'all are welcome to bring your own cake or favorite treat of choice to enjoy with us.
And as is custom for the Ballet Rain birthday party, we have released our end of year survey.
Yes.
For you guys to fill out, and you get to talk about your favorite videos from this year, what you'd like to see from us next.
Make sure you go fill it out. This link to the survey is going to be on the top line of the description box, so you cannot miss it.
We are so thankful for all of you guys for hanging out with us and watching our content for the past 2 years. We're gonna have a lot of fun at our birthday party, and we really hope to see you there. So make sure to mark your calendars, share the news, and let's get on with the video.
Here we go, you guys. The final showdown of the Ballet Costume Showdown Sugarplum Edition, and we are faced with the dilemma of all dilemmas. We have with us 3 beautiful costumes that have surpassed all and made it to this point. We have the San Francisco Ballet's Ruler of the Land of Sweets, Sugarplum Tutu. We also have the National Ballet of Canada's beautiful Sugarplum Fairy in literal translation tutu. And we have the Royal Ballet's exquisite, classic, queenly Sugarplum Tutu.
Ah! However shall we choose?
I don't know.
Can we just stop the video here and be like, they all win?
They all win! Can we just do that? We have to choose one ultimate winner.
Why is life so hard?
It seems impossible.
Okay.
I'm trying to put on my like childhood goggles.
Yeah, it's like, what would a kid like?
if I were 7, which one would I choose? But also like looking at it as old as I am, which one would I choose?
Yeah, exactly. Which one is the most like enchanting?
I'm just trying to compare all the elements, all the crowns. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, they're all beautiful. Embellishments, the tutus themselves are exquisite. The only thing is like National Ballet of Canada, the diameter of the tutu is a little bit smaller than the rest, which ordinarily would bug me, but like since she's a fairy,
Yeah,
I
that's
feel like
true.
it doesn't bother me that much, especially because she has like little wings. That's almost an unfair advantage.
That is a pretty unfair advantage. Okay, I think I have my third place. I think I would pick San Fran for
yeah.
We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere.
Okay. So San Francisco will lock in at 3rd place.
Because I think it's more flower than Sugarplum.
That's my only reasoning for it.
It has a bit more of that flower dewdrop vibe.
Now, between Royal and Canada for second place, which one do you like better?
My brain is short-circuiting.
You guys,
I don't
please
know.
start dropping your comments. Which one do you think will win, Canada or Royal?
I honestly didn't think it would be this close. Like, walking into the showdown, I was thinking, oh yeah, Royal Ballet.
Yeah, I know, but side by side, I mean, you guys all know how we
Yeah.
kind of love Royal Ballet in like every way, everything about it we love. But when you put these two side by side, it makes it so much more than just Royal Ballet wins. Kind of examine. We can shrink the screen too.
Oh yeah! Zoom out, squint.
Which one speaks to you? We're gonna count to 3. We're gonna say which one you think, because this is too hard. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Royal
Canada.
Ballet.
No! Who am I kidding? They're both gorgeous.
Okay, the thing is, for like me as a little child, I would prefer Royal Ballets.
Actually.
But as for me, like now, I would choose Canada. Actually, because I appreciate the variety and the details and the color variation.
Okay.
But I know Eden, as a 7-year-old,
Yeah, inner
was-
child Eden.
was like, give me classic. Give me the
Really?
most traditional, sparkly pink Sugarplum tutu we could possibly get. But nowadays, I feel like I would pick this one now.
Here's the other thing that makes it very difficult and does not add a single point to either side in this matter. But I feel like the Sugarplums in these productions are perfect for receiving and welcoming the Clara in that production. Because the Royal Ballet, Clara is portrayed by a grown-up dancer, you know? And so like the whole production has a little bit more of a maturity to it. Whereas National Ballet of Canada, Clara is a very little child. And so this sort of fairy that's kind of just excited and more energetic and like, come and see my magical land. you
Yeah.
know? It works. So this didn't help the argument because again, they both fit.
If we could pick a draw, I would.
If we could pick a draw, I would too.
But there's only one winner.
There's only one winner.
We can only make. Are you sure we can't draw? Because it's
I'm-
Christmas. Because it's Christmas. We should watch them in live action.
Okay, we're gonna watch them together in live action. This is gonna be a draw unless we literally watch it in live
Unless we
action.
can come to a conclusion, then it's gonna be a draw, you guys. You won't be mad, right? Because it's Christmas.
Okay, well we've decided that in action they're both equally beautiful. That doesn't really help. I think we have to call it a tie. I
You
really don't see another way around this. And it's Christmas, you guys.
Genuinely, they're both so good.
I guess we have our final.
We have our final winners.
Our final winners.
Plural.
Plural. I guess in second place now.
Our second place, our runner-up, we have the beautiful San Francisco Ballet.
And tied for first place, we have.
After 30 minutes of
No
indecision.
joke. 30 minutes. The Royal Ballet and National Ballet of Canada. Honestly, we thought really long and hard about this, you guys, and we have considered all of the variables that we could find. At the end of the day, you know, truly all 3 of these, and actually all 12 of the costumes were beautiful in their respective productions, in their own portrayal of the story, and they're all lovely in their own way, but ultimately
We have our tried and true classic fan favorite Royal Ballet, and one that is now should be on the radar for all of y'all out there.
Yes.
National Ballet of Canada.
I also love their production, like the story. The fact that they have Clara and Frisbee so involved with the whole story. I think that's really, really heartwarming. But I won't spoil it for you guys. Obviously, you have to go watch Royal Ballet. That's a must.
Yes.
That's a given. But maybe keep a lookout for National Ballet of Canada.
Definitely.
Their upcoming Nutcracker production this season is going to be absolutely fabulous.
Beautiful.
So, and of course, San Francisco Ballet. You
Yes.
can't go wrong. Their production is absolutely stellar, and their snow scene is to die for.
Yeah, their snow scene is no joke the best snow scene.
Anyway, we have our 3 winners. Honestly, they could all be tied. I don't know. So congratulations to these respective companies
Yes.
on winning the official Sugarplum Costume Showdown.
So there you have it, you guys. That was quite possibly our most difficult costume showdown to date.
The fact that we got through this video is kind of a Christmas miracle in and of itself.
But to be honest, even from the preliminary round all the way up to the final showdown, we got to see some absolutely beautiful, exquisite sugar plum tutus, and I really do think it's wonderful and it's beautiful to see so many different people's interpretation and physical incarnation of Christmas magic.
Exactly.
You know, we want to applaud all of our 12 beautiful companies and beautiful tutus, and we believe that they will continue to capture the hearts of children and adults alike this holiday season.
That being said, please remember to support your local ballet.
Yes!
Wherever you are, go find a Nutcracker and watch it and just be captivated by the Christmas and holiday magic, and also to admire the beautiful Sugarplum fairies in your area.
Tis the season to be a child again.
Exactly.
So if you liked the video, make sure to like the video, and we want to extend a thank you to our patrons
For giving us the hardest video of our lives. Seriously, thank you so much to all of our patrons for voting this costume showdown subject.
And if you would like to be involved in some of the decision making for the Ballet Rain content plans, or are looking for a way to support us and the channel in general, then make sure to join our Patreon channel for less than a cup of hot chocolate. We are so appreciative of your support and are looking forward to connecting with you there. Anyways, I think that is all from us for now. This is Ballet Rain signing off. Until the next video.
Bye. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
It actually is now.
It is now. It's officially Christmas season. December 1st was yesterday, and we
Oh, yeah.
already have the Christmas decorations.
He's gonna sit right here. In honor of Nutcracker World Domination season,
Yes.
we are ushering in the festive spirit. It's hot in here too.
No, I'm perfect right now. Okay.
Really? Hot.
I just warmed up.
Are you kidding?